Good afternoon. Thank you. There is life out there. I appreciate this. This is a further effort to highlight and focus on something that all of us on this podium, a broad section of the caucus here, reflecting our focus on Make It in America. We're here today to show you a documentary that tells a powerful story. It's the story of our America and the challenges we're facing together. Last week, members of Congress were back in our districts, listening to our constituents and exchanging ideas about how to fix our economy. That's what Americans are concerned about. That's what we need to be focused on. And unfortunately, we're not focused on it in the House of Representatives. Our members heard the same message again and again and again. Right now, the country is in real trouble. Our greatest challenge, from every perspective, is the creation of jobs, because people want to work and they want to make it in America. Not just any jobs, but good jobs, high-paying jobs that will help more of our people make it. To do so, we will have to invest in education, innovation, and creating the conditions for businesses to launch and expand. A number of us were just with Susan Hochberg, who's the president of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. We met with her for an hour talking about advanced manufacturing, creating the kind of manufacturing jobs that we need. Marcy Kaptur from Toledo, from the heartland of America, the manufacturing center of America, raised a number of issues with her, as did others with us. The best way to create these jobs is to reinvigorate the sector of our economy that makes things. The American public overwhelmingly responds in polling data that that's what they believe is essential. They want to see goods stamped, made in America. They want to make them in America. They believe that that will yield benefits across our economy. That is what Make It in America is all about. As you'll see in this film, Make It in America includes exactly the kind of investments in innovation, infrastructure, education, exports, and tax reform that will help businesses create well-paying jobs. All of it is geared toward reinvigorating our manufacturing sector, reversing our $500 billion manufacturing export gap, and doing what it takes to put Americans back to work right away and over the coming generations. Last month, the president unveiled his own proposal, the American Jobs Act. There is a lot of overlap between his plan and ours. That is because the White House and Democrats in Congress are both focused relentlessly and continuously on jobs, while Republicans haven't been doing a lot about taking on the jobs agenda. They still haven't put forward their own plan. I again call upon Majority Leader Cantor to bring the American Jobs Act to the floor. And to the extent they want to change it or offer amendments, that is within their power to do so. And let us vote on the creation of jobs in America. It's time for them to put partisanship aside and partner with Democrats to get our country back to work. The American public doesn't care whether it's a Republican program or a Democratic program, a presidential program or congressional program. They know, however, that they must see action to create jobs. The Make It in America plan will do just that. And people, as the president says, can't wait the 14 months between now and the next election. We need to act, and we need to act now. I hope people across the country will watch this film, share it with their friends and families, and call their members of Congress and tell them to support the Make It in America agenda. I'm proud to show you a short trailer of the documentary now, and I encourage you all to watch the full documentary on my website. And, Katie, am I correct? Each one of them is going to get. Is that correct, the full? No. Members are getting them. Well, we're going to try to get some more for the press, too. Maybe press first and members second, because they get it. So now I want to roll the film, right? The middle class, working Americans, have been stuck in the mud. As a result, we have pursued what we call the Make It in America agenda. And everybody knows what make it means: succeed, win. And what also means make it in America, manufacture it, grow it, and sell it around the world and here at home, creating that environment that will give the working men and women of this country the kind of good jobs with good pay and good benefits we want them to have.
Corporations and industries are not going to locate in a community unless there is sufficient infrastructure, a good water system, recreational opportunities, a good school system. The American people are talking about it, and now we need to do something about it with public policy.
In the young people in our country, we have great ability, and what we need to do is invest in their education and science, technology, engineering, math. These are critical skill areas, both for our economic prosperity, but also for national security.
You need technicians, you need people who can operate computers, you need math science backgrounds, you need to have people that are in the STEM industries. I think we need to make more investments to help us build up and recreate that base.
The priority investments in the Make It in America agenda are in innovation, research and development, particularly along the lines of energy needs, and definitely having the solid education base so that they have the skilled workers that they're going to need for these manufacturing jobs.
American competitiveness depends upon the world perceiving that we continue to lead in innovation and the quality of the products that we manufacture here. We need to invest in education, we need to invest in research and development, we need to continue to provide incentives to companies to do great things and lead the world to our doorsteps.
You know, we were involved in that Chilean mine rescue in 2010, and when they called for rigs to come to the site, of the 7 rigs that arrived, 4 of them were SRAMs.
They were saying it was going to be 3-4 months before these men got out of the earth. In 33 days, we dug a hole to bring those miners up out of the ground. What a great sense of pride. We build this. We make this. You know, wow. Something that we have done is impacting the world.
We are not helpless again in this economic crisis that we're in. That's what Make It in America really says. We are not helpless. These are concrete, proven kinds of proposals that can actually put America back to work if we have the will and the political will to really make it happen.
We believe that together we can make it in America. Not only that, we believe we will make it in America. And the crowd went wild. This is an effort, obviously, to raise the consciousness of our country and of the Congress on focusing on the creation of jobs here in America, which are making things. Americans overwhelmingly believe that is the secret of success in the decades to come. They can be high-value things. They can be advanced manufacturing products, but we need to be making things. Andy Liveris wrote a book called Make It in America. He's the CEO of Dow Chemical. And he said that if we don't make things in America, that we invent, innovate, and develop, and we are the invention, innovation, and developing capital of the world, unequaled. But what is happening is we are taking too many of the things we invent, innovate, and develop, and taking them to scale overseas. And the concern that Andy Liveris has, and Andy Grove, who developed Intel, who co-founder of Intel, says our inventors, innovators, and developers will migrate to where the products are being taken to scale. So in the short term and long term, America will be disadvantaged if we don't make it in America. Now, I'm joined by someone who understands, as well as anybody, that the real creators of jobs are our small businesses that create a firm of 2, and then go to 4, and then to 8, and then to 16, and then to 32, and 64, and so on. And she has been leading the way in assuring that small business can make it in America. Nydia Velázquez, Ranking Member of the Small Business Committee.
Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, Stanley. And what an incredible message are we sending to the 28 million small businesses in America, that we believe in them and that they led us out of the recession of the 90s. And we know that if we could help create a climate that is conducive for small businesses to do what they do best, and that is creating jobs, that they will do it again, and they will lead the way to get this economy growing again. For nearly 2 centuries, manufacturing has been a cornerstone of our economy, and we cannot simply let this slip away. The Make It in America agenda takes critical steps to ensure this does not happen. While we face greater competition from foreign markets, there is absolutely no substitute for American ingenuity and know-how. In fact, with all the talk about the decline of U.S. manufacturing, the truth may be lost on many. The United States remains the world's largest manufacturing economy and supports nearly 20 million jobs in the United States. For this reason, we must make promoting manufacturing a national priority, not an afterthought. In most communities, such as mine in Brooklyn, small businesses are a critical part of the manufacturing industry. These companies comprise 95% of all manufacturing firms and employ half of all manufacturing employees. Not only do they provide jobs, but they anchor towns and neighborhoods, supplying the foundation for future growth. And given that manufacturers perform 2/3 of R&D in the nation, the spillover effects drive even more innovation and the development of clusters. This entrepreneurial nature must be seized upon and promoted, and that is exactly what the Make It in America agenda does. Even though the American manufacturing sector continues to lead the world, it faces steady challenges. The greatest threat to our standing has been low-cost competitors from other countries. Many industries and the jobs that come with them have, in fact, moved offshore. But rather than weakening this sector, in many regards, it has made it stronger. This means that instead of focusing on low-wage manual labor, the manufacturing sector is moving to higher-skilled, better-paying jobs. Sectors like aerospace, computers, chemicals, and food are rising, and with this come new challenges. The Make It in America agenda addresses these challenges head-on. It focuses on this next-generation manufacturing industry, like clean technology and advanced energy manufacturing. And in doing so, it takes steps to ensure that the workforce is trained to carry out the work needed in this cutting-edge industry. This will give manufacturers the tools and resources they need to create jobs here at home, while also making further inroads in foreign markets. This is our plan. Where is theirs? To America, we are listening.
Thank you very much. Everybody is not going to speak. I know you're pleased to hear that. But Ben Lujan from New Mexico, all of those members are very involved in the Make It America agenda. Russ Carnahan from Missouri, Jim McGovern from Massachusetts, Jan Schakowsky, one of the stars of our film. Kathy will be speaking. G.K. Butterfield from North Carolina, who was also one of the stars of our film. Janice Hahn, one of our newest members from California, Karen Bass, who will be speaking. Albie Osiris from New Jersey. Nydia, you just heard from. Mark Kritz from Pennsylvania. David Cicilline, who you're going to hear from. And, of course, Marcy Kaptur, whom I already mentioned, but who has been as focused on the need to make it in America as any member of the Congress of the United States, period. So now let me yield to one of our most famous members, also one of our newest members, who everybody's focused on, Kathy Hochul from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Hoyer, for your leadership on this critical issue. Make it in America. 4 simple words that embody the optimism, the can-do spirit. The sky is the limit. sense that our entrepreneurs who came a generation before us had when they built their businesses, created jobs that gave us an incredible middle class. Due to unfair competition, currency manipulation, and a very tough economy, it sometimes seems like we've lost part of that American identity. I was born in the shadow of the Bethlehem steel plant, one time 20,000 strong. My grandfather worked there, my fathers, my uncles. It's all gone. The once vibrant manufacturing base in my area took a beating. Our uniquely American jobs were shipped off to foreign shores. But ladies and gentlemen, those of us who believe in the resilience of our American people and the American businesses know we can bring it back. The Make It in America initiative will do just that. No one on this planet can out-innovate, outwork, or outthink good old-fashioned American ingenuity. 2 weeks ago, I stood shoulder to shoulder with one of my former political opponents for this particular seat, industrialist Jack Davis. I toured his manufacturing facility, I2R Element, a manufacturer of heating elements in Akron, New York. Jack is on the verge of expanding his 80,000 square foot facility to 116,000, upping his workforce to nearly 100 workers. It's an amazing business, the kind our federal policies need to support. In fact, if you look at your cell phone, which hopefully is on off, you'll see that the face of it, the glass of it, was probably made in Jack's facility. I spoke to Jack about the challenges he faces, the challenges competing with businesses that are shipping jobs overseas, and I presented Jack with a Make It in America hat. I thanked him for keeping American jobs in America. I wanted Jack and others to know that we get it. We get it. If Congress would adopt this comprehensive package to help rebuild our manufacturing base, create jobs right here in America, we can and we will restore the pride that this magnificent country deserves. Thank you very much.
You just got a lesson on why Kathy Hochul is going to make it in Congress for a long period of time. Now, I want to recognize the former mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, who has got legislation himself focused on making it in America and has been a leader on this effort, David Cicilline.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Steny, for your leadership, and thank you to all my colleagues who have been so much a part of this Make It in America agenda. For the past 9 months, I have toured manufacturers in my home state of Rhode Island, facilities, as well as speaking with owners of manufacturing facilities and employees. And we talked during those walks about the success of their companies and the challenges they face, but mostly we talked about their anxiety. More and more products that were once made in America now being offshored, and a tax code that only entices companies to ship even more jobs overseas. We talked about the absence of a committed national strategy to make manufacturing a priority in our economy, the lack of a well-trained workforce to fill existing jobs in advanced manufacturing. I know the struggles facing Rhode Islanders, the concerns and the anxiety felt by our manufacturers, their families, our Main Street small business owners, and the men and women doing their very best to recover from one of our nation's worst economic downturns. And when I talk to them about what we need to do to help rebuild the economy of our country and be sure that America remains a leading world economic power, they all agree it's to be sure that we make things again in America. I come from a state that is the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution, a state where manufacturing helped to build a middle class and to provide well-paying jobs for many generations. And when we talk about the Make It in America agenda, it's about creating good-paying jobs in manufacturing and construction, about directing resources to create a well-trained and skilled workforce, about making investments in infrastructure that will help this country transport goods, people, and the ideas that are necessary to outpace our competitors in the global economy. America has a proud tradition of making things. We built the world's strongest middle class, and we've supported families and communities for hundreds of years in this country because we made the goods that the world demanded. And I am very proud to be part of this Make it in America agenda. It's a recognition that we have to take seriously our country's need to invest in manufacturing, in innovation, in infrastructure, and a well-educated and well-trained workforce. America has lost 8 million jobs in manufacturing since 1979. More than 90,000 of those jobs were lost in Rhode Island alone. We need to spread the word, and this documentary is going to help us do that behind every Made in America label is an American worker. And if we're going to be serious about creating jobs and competing in the 21st century economy and to give the middle class the chance to thrive again, then we need to take this agenda of making it in America seriously, and we need to act on it now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David Cicilline. Joining us also is Bill Keating from the state of Massachusetts, who's also been very involved in the Make It in America agenda. And as I said, our cleanup hitter is going to be the former Speaker of the California Assembly, who has come to the Congress, and as she was an extraordinary leader in California, she is an extraordinary leader here in the House of Representatives, Karen Bass from Los Angeles.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, let me thank Mr. Hoyer for his leadership of keeping us always focused on the most important topic in our nation right now, and that's jobs. And where do we get the jobs from? Make it in America, that's exactly what we need to do. As you've heard from my colleagues before me and you saw in the trailer, manufacturing in America has played a major role in growing our economy and creating good-paying jobs over the past century. But there's a key point to Make it in America that holds it all together, and that's education. Our economy is only as strong as the people who work to grow it. We need to continue to invest in the nation's education system so we properly prepare our youth to compete in today's globalized economy. We need to bridge a partnership between business, labor, and education to make sure we are preparing our students for what's needed by our nation's employers. We need to put more emphasis on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math in schools. You heard this in the video. These are the skills that drive manufacturing, and these are the skills that our next generation, and our current generation for that matter, need to have in order to make it in America. We all know a good education has always been the path to a good job. Right now, we have several bills that will help people to make it in America. The President's American Jobs Act is one of them. It invests over $35 billion in improving and modernizing our schools and further supports our teachers so we can prepare an educated workforce. We can help everyone make it in America today. Republicans need to act and bring this bill to the floor for a vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Karen Bass of California. The President in his State of the Union speech, in talking about how America needed to compete and to grow jobs, said that we needed to out-innovate, out-build, and out-educate our competitors. He was right then. He's right today. As Karen Bass just concluded, the President has offered a bill. It's called the American Jobs Act. It is not the whole answer, but it is a significant effort and initiative to, in the short term, grow jobs. In the long term, we need to make sure that we have a policy in America that allows manufacturers and allow workers to join together in partnership to make it in America. We'd be glad to answer any questions that you might. Excuse me.
Russ Carnahan joined us.
Russ Carnahan. I introduced him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jan Schakowsky is Russ Carnahan's PR person, and she is now having Russ Carnahan reintroduced.
Say it again.
Yeah, say it again.
Got to make sure that Russ
more time.
is making it in America.
We're making it in America.
Peter Welch had to leave. Is that correct? Yeah. He's not going to get introduced again because he had to leave. Are there any questions as opposed to kibitzing from the back row here?
Since you described that.
Deirdre?
The President's jobs bill. I wonder what you think of Senator Reid's new proposal out today to impose a new 5% surtax on millionaires.
Well, I think that has support here in the House in terms of, as a matter of fact, Jan Schakowsky has been a leader on funding sources Very frankly, I told the press a little earlier today, they asked me, would you support the president's bill as submitted? I said, yes, I would. I said, but if the Senate has an alternative way in which they want to pay for the initiatives that the president's proposed, we'll certainly consider that as well. The legislative process is a process where you put a proposition on the table, and then it's open for amendment, either in subcommittee or committee or on the floor of the House of Representatives, and hopefully you'll make it better. But if you do not consider something, if you stonewall, if you simply deep six a proposal that has the hope of adding jobs, according to Mark Zandi, who was one of McCain's economic advisors, as you know, we use his name all the time because he's not a Democratic economist, and he says 1.6 to 1.9 million new jobs as a result of the president's program and an increase of over a point in the gross domestic product and the growth of our economy. Others have higher numbers, some about the same and some a little lower. But all of them agree that if we have the jobs bill enacted, that it will help us in the short term grow jobs, which obviously Americans need. So that my answer to your question is, Senator Reid, if the Senate has an alternative, but that will accomplish the same objective in a different way, we'll certainly consider it over here, and I think we'd be very pleased to support it. And it may, and in fact, some of our members may like that alternative better. I'm sure that's the case. As a matter of fact, I haven't taken as the whip, I haven't made a count on that. But the important thing is we urge our Republican colleagues bring to the floor a bill. If it's their bill, so be it. Allow us to offer amendments to it. If it's our bill, if it's the president's bill, fine. They can offer amendments to it. Let the American public see who wants to vote to create jobs in the short term and in the long term.
On the China currency bill, the Republican leaders here in the House have repeatedly said that they will not bring that bill up, but there's this discharge petition that's been going around. I saw that Chairman Rogers put his name on it this week and then took it off. Has there been any other success with getting
I think this is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. When we were in the majority in the Congress, in the House of Representatives, we offered a bill. And although you call it the China currency bill, obviously it applies to all of our trading partners who would manipulate the value of their currency to enhance or to decrease the cost of their exports to us and increase the cost of our exports to them, whoever the trading partner is. Now, China is in fact the biggest example of the adverse impact this has on the balance of trade. 99 Republicans, half of the Republicans voted for that bill in the last Congress. It passed with approximately 350 plus votes. It passed in the Senate with 79 or 72 or 79. Close to 79? Cloture was 79 votes, with over 20 Republicans voting for it. So this is not a partisan bill. This is a bill about making it in America. This is a bill about having fair trade. If we're going to trade with our partners, then they need to trade with us fairly so that we can compete on a level playing field. So I would hope that Mr. Cantor would recant and would bring this bill to the floor. I think it will have overwhelming support, as it had in the Senate. There is no doubt in my mind that an overwhelming majority of the House of Representatives supports the Senate-passed bill.
Last question.
Richard?
Can you talk about the extent to which this jobs, Making it America initiative does or could relate to the continuing, the work being done by the Deficit Reduction Committee?
Clearly, every commission, Richard, as you well know, has recommended, the two major commissions made essentially two recommendations. Their first recommendation was don't do anything in the short term that hurts the economy, and do things in the short term that help the economy grow and create jobs. Because you will not solve the second objective, and that is bringing down the deficit and the debt, the annual deficit and the long-term debt, if you don't grow the economy. So the two are complementary. You've got to do both. You got to walk and chew gum in this case, and we can do that. We, in the short term, the president has offered a program, the American Jobs Act, to meet the short-term recommendations of Bowles, Simpson, and Rivlin-Domenici. That is, creating jobs. And as you create jobs and have people working, your revenues will increase. We're now collecting 15% GDP revenues. Over the last 40 years, the average revenue stream for America has been 18% of GDP. We're 3 points lower than that. There's no doubt that is one of the significant reasons we have this debt and deficit. So you got to grow the economy. So I think the answer to your question, Richard, is they're complementary. We need to do both. We can do both, and we should do both. We're going to make it in America. Thank you very much.